Hi, how are you? Is that your hair? It looks exotic and tantalizing. You're like, yeah, it is. Imagine it is. So the thing I learned to do, so I started just, I don't use any moisturizers. So, and I don't stand in the sun also. You just have to use Avo and just cocoa butter. And it's just really, really, really been growing. Yeah, so as you can see. Oh my word. Women are amazing. What would life be without women? Women make life so beautiful with their hair conversations. You guys go deep, eh? Like a chick can talk about chicken, and before you know it, it was just chicken feet. Now, a whole other conversation about feathers and how feathers can be used to make beauty things for God knows what. I hope you're keeping well. My name is Eric, and this is Eric Stories. I am having a time of my life. I'm very happy. I was talking to somebody earlier today, and they were telling me, "Oh, you look so happy," and I'm like, "I feel happier than I look," and that's a good thing. That's a good thing, isn't it? I hope you're trying to be happy wherever you are. Today I got up early and I went to the gym. I was working out because I had a series of meetings that I had to do. And then at around maybe 2 o'clock, a friend of mine sent me a forward about, unfortunately, a sad news of a local DJ who died by suicide. And that really got me thinking about life in totality, especially my life, my own life. In this day and age, the information age we live in, there's a lot of filters, and we are very good at putting a spotlight on the bits and pieces of life that we want to broadcast. Seldom do we put anything that will show us in a negative light. All right. And so people are going on trips and people are doing amazing things and people are getting married, and that's good. That is good. That is good. If that's your life, amazing. But you and I know that there are other realities of life because life is not just made up of highs, it also is made up of serious lows and serious dips. One time I was staying with a friend of mine many years back. We could only afford, young men, we could only afford a small room, maybe half the size of my living room. And I think our rent was 2,500. So that evening, we went back home. I think we delayed with the rent for maybe 2 days. So we went back home from our hustle and we found a big padlock on the door. And my friend, I don't know where he decided to go sleep. So I had to make arrangements before we could find the money for rent. And so I thought it fit to go to a friend's house who was living on the other side of town and just, ask for a place to sleep for the night, and then I'd get it sorted the following day and move on with my life. So I was knocking at his door, right? And the lights thankfully were on. So I was knocking at his door. Let's call him Steve. I was like, Steve, Steve, Steve. While peeping at that, these metal doors that have spaces for holding the padlock. So I was peeping through that metal door and I saw him leaving his bed. It was even a bed sitter. He was leaving his bed, came to the door, switched off the lights, and drew the curtains. And it's funny, I'm laughing now, but it was a very difficult thing, right? At that particular time. So what did I do? I don't know where I slept, but it wasn't in a pleasant place because I just had to wait for the night so I go look for money. And so many of us have tear jerking experiences that if we narrated, all of us might start reaching for handkerchiefs and crying. I mean, people go through heinous things. Heinous, heinous, heinous. People go through difficulties upon difficulties. Sometimes in our corporate life, other times in our relationships, other times in our quest to realize romance. One other lady I was in a relationship with, and I was very excited. I'd had no house for a long time because I was moving back and forth between countries, and I was not doing very well financially. And so I got a house then, and I was very excited. I mean, this was a big step. And so I told her, oh, by the way, I got the house and you should come and see it. Then she said, how about you furnish it first? Yeah, just furnish it tastefully and then I'll come. And I was just like, oh, wow. So why am I saying this? I'm saying this because life is filled with disappointments. Those moments are not very Instagrammable or worth a very nice story to tell while having caviar and maybe some champagne. There are stories that would earn your frown more than a laughter. But thank God for seasons and moments, because you can leave that reality and move on to this other reality and tell the story in hindsight and laugh. And so that news of the DJ who died by suicide really broke my heart. And I was thinking about, while I was going to talk about something else, I was thinking about how even today we are very closed. While we have an overload of information, it's also very difficult to reach out and discuss your heart and mind with the next person, because people judge you very harshly, and many times they'll talk about you even. Also, we are such a highly capitalistic society in many African countries now, and even in the West. And that aside, we have a lot of classicism here as well. I don't know if you noticed, but Nairobi is very rife with classism. In fact, the Bible puts it well. It says the wisdom of a poor man is despised. And so that even if you needed to see a therapist, there's a fee you've got to pay. So it's hard. It's hard for somebody who's not of means to even share some of their problems. And so I was just thinking about my journey, as I'm sure you have a story as well, about some of the difficult segments of your life. But I thought to have a quick chat with you who may be watching and maybe have felt maybe depressed. One of the things I love about life is that life is filled with seasons. All right? And seasons don't last. Seasons don't last. Just like a rainy season, it doesn't last. And so sometimes when I think about what used to be so difficult in that moment in time back then, and I've had many episodes, maybe, in one of the lives, even tomorrow, we can share some of these at length. But I've had, as I'm sure you too, many episodes where you just felt like, you want to give up. And sometimes you don't see any hope or a future and you decide to do something drastic. But just to urge you, a stranger to another, to hold on, hang in there. All right? Things normally work in the end. There are times in my life when I didn't know how the next step would feel like, but God is amazing. Things always work in the end. All right? So I thought to share 3 things. All right? Tomorrow, I think we can expand on these, even conversations around workplace toxicity and even bullying, which I saw trending today a lot online. But I just wanted to say that people will leave and hurt you and disappoint you. Sometimes they're your lovers, other times they're your wives, other times they're your husbands, sometimes they're your children. People are people. The human heart is desperately wicked. Nobody can know it, as Jeremiah rightfully said. So people will leave. People will switch off their lights and let you sleep outside. C'est la vie. A girlfriend will say they will not come to your house until you furnish. And maybe move on with somebody else. It's life. It happens. And it hurts. The second thing I think a lot of us are losing track on, however important you are, however gorgeous or tall, the other day I was at the junction and these super tall Sudanese women, oh my goodness, so tall, young women in their mid-20s, say, "Hi, excuse me, hi." And I was just like, hi. One said she's 6'7". Can you imagine 6'7"? And I'm not a short man. So they were very tall. The other one was 6'6". She was like, "I'm taller than her." And they were asking me for directions to some place, and I showed them. However tall you may be, as tall as those 2 Sudanese ladies I met, or however beautiful you may be, or however famous you may be, you're not too important to be nice to people. You don't know what somebody is going through. Just be nice. It doesn't have to be decent. Just be nice. Everybody has a struggle, as do you. Just be nice. Be nice. Be an everyday nice person. In your authority, in the space you wield as a boss, as a messenger, as somebody who sends a messenger, just be nice. I know it's not fashionable and sounds so cliche, but just be nice. If you are decent to the next person and it reverberates, we'd have a much better world than we experience right now. All right? Finally, please don't make permanent decisions during a temporary problem. Don't. I went for an audition last year for a job I really wanted, a gig. I really wanted the gig. And then they didn't even bother to call me back. They just, I think, gave it to somebody else. And I was just like, oh my God. It felt really bad because I was out in character, I'm going to get this gig. And I was very disappointed. So I came back home. It was very tight. They needed to do the shoot within 2 days. They didn't say a word. And one of the stylists who was working there, I saw on their Instagram, was going to shoot at 4 a.m. And I was just like, oh my God, the job is gone. So I texted her and said, is this for X, Y, and Z gig? And she said, yeah, it is. And so I just knelt and told God, I feel so disappointed. And I was very disappointed. I was the person for that gig, right? So that was last year, maybe mid last year. And then I let it pass and moved on with my life. Last week, I'm minding my business. I haven't gone for any casting, no audition, nothing. My phone rings and the person on the other end says, is this Eric? I say, yes. So I'm calling you for a shoot at X, Y, and Z place. Are you available? So it is better money and a better company and a better role than even the one I'd wanted. So while life is not always like that things get worse and sometimes it seems to get worse and worse and worse, I think if you just hang on a little, just hang in there. Yes, it looks very nasty. It looks very complete and total and you will not recover. But there is another story, all right? There's another story. So I got the role and I was very excited and I did the shoot and we are shooting again. I'm very happy, but I was very sad. So if I had done something drastic or maybe insulted the company and told them they are blind for not having seen my talent, So I hope we can encourage each other. If somebody needs an ear, just lend them a ear. If they need a hug, lend them a hug. If they need another 500 bob to push them for a day or two, lend them that. A little kindness does go a long way. I have so much to say about this, but let's hang out tomorrow 9 o'clock on the live on Instagram. If you've never come, please come. It's always so much fun. And may God bless you and have a good night. Speak soon.